Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Trinea Reed, and I am the Workforce Development Manager here at the Amputee Coalition. Today, we'll be going over mock interviewing skills. Our title for today will be Mock Interviewing 101. So I would just like to mention again about our YEP Workforce Development Program and our training and resume completion form. So after completing the 3 out of 7 training sessions for Workforce Development Program, you will be required to complete the training and resume completion form. Once form is completed, submitted, and reviewed, participants within the Workforce Development Program will have access to research and apply for job and internship positions within our YEP career dashboard. As you can see here to the right, this is our sample, a sample of what the training and resume completion form will look like. And this could be found on our YEP Workforce Development webpage. So what is mock interviewing? A mock interview is a practice interview that allows applicants and interviewees to prepare their responses and to practice interview questions before the actual interview. Here are some interview tips. To prepare for an interview, it is important to practice interview questions prior to the interview. This is a very important step in that practicing before the actual interview can help you to prepare your answers and to gather your talking points on what you will say to an employer on a particular interview question. In addition, it's important to do research on the company that you're interviewing for. So a lot of times, the interviewer will ask applicants if they know about the company or what they like about the company. So it's always important to do research on that company before the actual interview. In addition, to have a clear, cohesive response to interview questions. This kind of ties into the first bullet point of the importance of being able to practice interview questions prior to the interview to make sure that you have clear and cohesive responses, as well as being able to practice beforehand your responses. In addition, it's always important to take a few seconds to answer an interview question during the interview if needed. If you're asked the interview question and you need a couple of seconds to think about that question, that's okay. It's okay to take a few seconds to think about the question to make sure that you're giving the appropriate response to that question. And finally, asking 3 to 4 questions at the end of the interview is always important as well. It shows the employer that you're being engaged in the interview, that you're really interested in learning more about the company and the job position. So here are 5 sample interview questions that you could see during an interview. One of the most important ones is number 1. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? So this is what's called also an elevator speech. So particularly an elevator speech is your speech which could be anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds, where you're talking about your experiences, your work experiences, as well as your skill set, and how you would be a valuable asset to the company that you're applying to. So it's always important to be able to prepare your elevator speech. In addition, second question is, why do you want to work for the company? So this is also another question that normally comes up during an interview as far as why do you want to work for the company, or why do you want to work within this particular job position? In addition, number 3, a popular one would be, can you tell me about your strengths and weaknesses? So this is one that tends to come up often as well, in that an employer will ask about your strengths, but also your weaknesses. It's important when discussing your weakness that the weakness that you discuss is not a crucial component to the skills or the responsibilities that that employer or that job position may be looking for. In addition, when you're talking about your weakness, it's also important to kind of talk about your weakness, but also putting a positive spin on it as well. You want to always talk about, okay, this is my weakness, but this is what I do to help improve that weakness, or this is what I do to overcome that weakness I may have. In addition, number 4, how do you stay organized while working? That's also a very important one that comes up. And finally, number 5, do you have any questions? So as we discussed previously, asking questions at the end of the interview is very important. It shows that you're engaged in the interview, as well as you're wanting to learn more about the company and the job position that you're applying to. So this kind of goes into my last statement about asking questions to an interviewer. So at the end of the interview, it's important to at least ask 3 to 4 questions to the interviewer. Some of those questions could be, or sample questions could be, what do you like about working for the company? Another one could be, how will I know if I'm doing a good job? So it shows the employer that you want to make sure that you're doing things correctly and that you're getting evaluated for your work periodically. That if there's something that you may not be doing correctly, to have conversation with your supervisor or manager to go over how you could be doing that task or that responsibility correctly. In addition, can you describe a typical day within a work position or department? So it shows that you're wanting to know if you did get the job offer for this particular job position, what are the skills and the responsibilities that you would be learning? What is the environment like in the department that you'll be working in? So all of these three questions are sample questions that you could use when talking to or asking a question to an interviewer after the interview. So now I'm going to leave it up for questions, if anyone has any questions. I see here on the call that we have Patricia on the call. Thank you so much, Patricia, for joining our webinar today. I wanted to see, do you have any questions on the material that we went over as far as mock interviewing?
No, not at this time, because I came in about 2 minutes late.
Okay, not a problem. The recording will also be located under our educational webinars tab. So if you want to see the first half of the webinar, you'll be able to do so under that educational webinar tab.
Thank you.
And also, Patricia, I wanted to ask, are you currently working at this time, or are you looking for employment?
I want to get started slowly, like maybe 2 or 3 days part-time, but I've been retired for some time now.
Okay, great. Have you worked in the past, or would this be your first job?
Well, I retired about 10 years ago. So yeah, it would be something new, and it's been so long, and I worked in mental health.
Okay. So after this call, I definitely would like for you to connect with me. My email is right there, treed@amputees-coalition.org.
Okay.
I will send you information for you to be connected to our adult workforce development program, and send you the requirements and the steps to get started within that program.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Do you have any other questions or anything that I could answer?
I think just getting started and trying to put the resume together has been so long.
For sure, for sure. And under that educational webinar tab, I'll also email you the link as well. You'll see our previous webinars that we had about how to build a strong resume. So that's a very valuable webinar to take a look at when you have a chance, because it talks about, and I explain how to build a strong resume and the components that are important to include in a resume.
All right, thank you.
No problem. And I look forward to speaking with you soon.
Okay, all right then.
And I just want to thank everyone today for joining our webinar on Mock Interviewing 101 for our youth engagement program. If anyone has any questions, follow-up questions, my contact information is located here. And I hope to see everyone in future webinars within workforce development. I hope you have a great day. Take care.